Doctor, we're watching the economy kind of, in a really bad place. It's the worst recession even we're expecting since the Great Depression. And we hear this term social distancing, and that seems to be prohibiting us from flying, from taking vacations, from going to live events, from going to restaurants, from going on public transport. And I'm curious what the panel thinks about this concept of social distancing. In the UK here, it's 2 meters. No one seems to know where that came from. And I'm wondering what the panel thinks, because this seems to me to be the major barrier to quote unquote getting America back to work or getting people back to work. And I had Bobby Kennedy on here who said that basically for every 1% in unemployment increase in America leads to 37,000 deaths, another 3,000 to 4,000 people in prison, another 3,000 to 4,000 people with mental illness. And with a 10, 20 point increase, you start to see those numbers add up just in the US. So it's a real issue. I'm curious what you think about it, Dr. Buttar, and what the panel feels, because this is crucial.
So, Brian, it's interesting you asked that question because, we've got the Advanced Medicine Conference. We never canceled it. We've planned on doing everything. We've had, no changes. We've got a couple of speakers that weren't able to come in, but everybody's booked their flights. Today's Thursday, so the conference starts in about 36 hours. I just got this slipped across the door. I don't know if you can see it. It just says hotel just pulled out due to governor's order. So this is 36 hours before our conference, and they're going to try to prevent the conference from taking place. And we've got hundreds of people, possibly thousands of people that were planning on coming, and we were going to stream it for those people that couldn't come, and they've just done this. Now, this is showing how preposterous, because this is a medical conference. We've got Dr. Bruce Lipton coming there. We've got Dr. Judy Mikovits, Dr. Sherry Tenpenny. These are some of the leading people on how viruses work and diseases and such like this, autism, people that have been involved with this type of information, dissemination of this type of information, research in this type of information for years. And they're going to try to say that no, some governor is going to issue an order to prevent a medical conference from taking place when we know that this is hogwash. Already, the unconstitutionality of this has been struck down in Wisconsin by a governor's order, and I think in the state of Oregon. So, I'm trying to maintain my composure. You can see that, somebody said cabal. So I'm at a loss for words right now because this has been a year in planning, and we got thousands of people coming in. You got speakers from multiple countries coming in 36 hours before they pull out. 36 hours before. So I'm sorry that I was at a little loss for words. I was kind of just not even sure exactly what to say. But when you ask about what's happening to the economy, it's devastating for everybody. And I guess we can ask the doctors how many of the doctors have been affected by personally impacting their practices.
Well, I'm guessing that's high, but let's just see the hands. Okay, so how many doctors' practices have been affected by this? You probably expect it's most here. Most of the doctors. I really want to kind of drill into the whole social distancing question.
Yep, let's do that.
Because this is the perfect time to have this panel talk on this. You and I spoke about this briefly, but I'll get your thoughts on it again. Is social distancing necessary? 2 meters, 1 meter, you've already covered the masks. Is that going to prevent the spread of this disease, which we all pretty much agreed is not what people are dying from?
The social distancing has nothing to do with the virus. That's how it's been projected, and yet there's no scientific basis for having 6 feet distance to prevent something from spreading. First, viruses don't leap that way. What travels through the air, the way we're talking about as far as diseases, but viral particles being transmitted through the air, they globally travel, right? So if something can go 3 feet or 6 feet, guess what? It can go 12 feet, 20 feet, 200 feet, 2,000 feet, 2 miles, 20 miles, 2,000 miles. So social distancing absolutely has no scientific basis whatsoever. And there've actually been people that have written about it, doctors and scientists that have written about it, saying that there's no basis for social distancing. However, there is a significant basis for social distancing when it comes to the freedom of speech, which then gives you the freedom to assemble. And the military technology has been there for at least 15 years. Since I got out of the military, it was actually back then, so that was in 1996, so that was 24 years ago, where I think it was right around that time, where you can actually, using satellites, track soldiers, and to a 5 foot circumference around the soldier, you can basically identify them. If it's within that 5 foot, then it's hard to determine if it's 2 people, 3 people, 4 people. But I think the social distancing is part of that divide and conquer. They've divided us based on ethnicity, based upon culture, based upon religion, based upon belief system, based upon ideology, based upon political party. Now they're trying to come into our homes with HR 6666 and saying that they're going to take people out of the house to quarantine them. Wait a second. First of all, 6666, that's interesting numbers, right, for the HR Resolution Trace Act, tracking, reporting, and whatever the C stands for, I can't remember now. But this whole HR 6666 is to take people out of the homes, and they're saying it's for the safety of those individuals to quarantine them. Well, my question is, one, if you're in a home, you're already quarantined. And secondly, if this COVID-19 you're so scared of, and you talk about social distancing, if they're in a home, they've already been exposed to it. So what are you coming to people's home for? It's because they're trying to divide people. They're trying to divide us, right? So the social distancing is all about dividing us and separating us, creating us more into an isolated component. And humans are herd animals. So if we start separating us, it's going to cause more stress, more psychological and emotional issues, and more depression. And I think this is part and parcel of that fear mongering that they've created.
All right, so let me ask the question. Raise your hand if you think that social distancing has no scientific basis whatsoever.
All right, I'm very curious on this one. All right, looking through the panel here. Sonia. Okay, what do we see? A couple of hockeys on the fence a little bit. It looks like about 80% here.
I'd say more than that, Brian. I've only seen two people whose hands aren't up.
Right.
And I don't know whether their arms are up. Okay, see, now just one of those hands just came in view, so I can see that hand is up. So,
I mean, honestly, I'm blown away. I would not expect 90% of doctors here
say that there's no scientific basis whatsoever for social distancing, when this is the party line we hear over and over and over again. Everywhere I go in London, it's the distance. And now they've frightened the population to where I'm running in the park and I get within 2 meters of someone, everyone gets angry and starts yelling. And it's the reason no one's going back to work. It's the reason airlines aren't full and sporting events are happening and restaurants are closed. And yet none of these doctors think there's any scientific basis for that.
That's exactly right. So I only counted 4 hands that weren't up.
Yeah.
So out of 163, 4 hands not being up, that's over 95%.
Look at that.
And this is the reason we have this panel. And again, I really appreciate everybody being here, because it's one thing to have Dr. Buttar